Oh, there? Oh, they clicked
Mike,
for that?
Mike.
You're gonna want my height. All right,
Do the best I can.
I'll pass you up.
But thank you, I appreciate it. I'll look at what I can.
Okay. Did you get it? Or what's it?
He's keeping me busy. Let me just say, here's a picture up. You get my drift?
Is this my seat? That's like I forgot all about it. I gotta go because I gotta go.
Call the meeting to order. Please remove your hats. Is anybody recording today? Tom Wallington and Val Stratton are recording today. Can we stand for a moment of silence and the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You all read the minutes. May I have a motion to approve? Is there any discussion, any corrections?
Yes.
You've all reviewed the minutes. I'm asking, is there any discussion or any corrections?
Yes. There was some things not put in the notes. When I spoke with our recording secretary, she said they were, all of the notes were not put in there that she had done. So one of them is hiring of the property management company. It was a motion by Webster to accept the advisory committee's report, and it was seconded by Metcalf for discussion only. And the vote was Ken and Anna accepted, Gail, Rosemary, Leo, and Jerry did not accept. But the other part is, we could have just adjusted that, but she forgot the member, well, the member comments were in there, and when she printed it, they were not there, so she's asked if we could do the amended ones at the next meeting, so she can get all the comments in there too.
So are you making a motion, Gail, that we postpone the,
Sure.
of these minutes, the December 6th minutes?
Yes, I'm proposing that we hold off and let the amended minutes come forward.
Okay, may I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. May I have a show of hands, all in favor?
Aye.
Carried. We don't have any correspondence today. So I'm going to read my president's report. And if you don't mind, I'm not going to stand up this morning. I just wanted to say welcome, and I hope you all had a happy new year. And I'll read my report now. Jerry Foster, second vice president, resigned effective December 21st. We will not be filling his seat as there is only 2.5 months left in this term. In that same vein, there were several requests for Leo's resignation. I sent him a letter asking for his resignation. He refused. Our governing documents state that in order to remove a board member, it requires 51% of the majority of all members vote for removal. My next one. There have been a lot of concerns regarding some discrepancies that appear on the balance sheet. There are 3 items. I have reviewed audits from 2007 to date. I have found several discrepancies that was not addressed during the audit years. There isn't any documentation that I can find to verify the entries of these accounts. Therefore, I have asked the board to approve hiring a CPA to research and clear these items from our balance sheet. At a closed legal meeting on December the 11th, the board voted unanimously to hire a CPA, and I will be contacting several. Yes, it will cost Brookridge to have this done. However, if the presidents and previous boards had read the audits during their terms, this problem might have been resolved several years ago. On January the 16th, Gil Lance Todd is having a GI town hall at the clubhouse at 10 o'clock. That's on the 16th. This will be an informative meeting for veterans and their families. Periodically, things change and they come up with new help and new things that would be good for veterans, their family, their spouse. And that's all I have.
I'd like to just, adding to that, what time is the meeting, Anna, on the 16th?
At 10 o'clock.
Okay, at 10 o'clock? 10 o'clock. And if we could get word out to all the people to do a last,
I think that's already in the... Yeah, thank you. Carol, may we have your report?
Okay, I just have a couple things. In the next couple weeks, I'll be sending or preparing the election ballots to go to the printers to be mailed out. And I just want to remind everybody at the next board meeting, Wednesday the 18th at 7 p.m., is Meet the Candidates Night. This is where the residents get an opportunity to question the candidates and interview them for all the candidates that are running for the board of directors. Now, there is a question because there's 4 positions and 4 seats, so they will get in.
Can't hear you, Carol.
You can't hear me?
No.
Can't hear nobody.
Is it, I don't know if it's the speakers? I'm projecting? Okay, I'm going to project. Okay, back again. There's 4 positions and 4 seats, so they will automatically be on the board.
your mic's not working.
Right up to your mouth.
It's on.
Right up to your mouth.
Stick it in your mouth and you'll be good.
I'm gonna repeat this one more time. 4 seats, 4 openings. The candidates will be elected. Florida statute states if you have the same number of candidates running for the same number of seats, you do not have to have an election. However, our bylaws state that you have to do it by terms, like the highest person number of votes receives the most number of terms, like 3 years and 2 years and 1 year. That's why we're holding the election. It's still important that you vote to determine what the terms will be. So I don't want anybody just to say, oh, I'm not gonna vote, because they're gonna get in. Okay. Tomorrow, you got me over there? Okay. Tomorrow we will be replacing the exit gate on the resident side. So if you have to exit on the visitor side, please remember, the gate doesn't automatically go up. You have to wait for the guard to let you in and out. Because we had a problem where the gate was up, it automatically came down, they thought they could just go through. You can't, it hit their truck. So just be careful of that tomorrow. And the annual RV compound meeting is Wednesday, January 18th at 10 in the South Hall. Anyone who has a site in the RV compound is invited. Thank you.
Okay. I'm making a motion. We have a Meet the Candidates night. And this is an opportunity for members to come and ask questions of the board candidates. I'm making a motion to approve Meet the Candidates night for January 18, 2023, after our regular business meeting. That'll be on a Wednesday. May I have a second? Leo, thank you. Is there any discussion? Okay. May I have a show of hands? Okay, all in favor. Thank you very much.
I have a question about that.
Oh, okay.
Do I need to come up there?
Yeah.
Vivian Blair, Unit 4. My question is, the questions to the candidates, do they have to be submitted in writing ahead of time, or is it going to be, anybody from the audience want to ask a question? How is that going to work?
You should do it ahead of time.
And where do we submit them to?
I would take it to the office.
Okay.
Or you could take them up that night at the beginning of the meeting.
All right.
Okay?
Thank you.
All right. Good question, Vivian.
And there's usually papers, you know, as you come in for candidates night, that you can also do your questions, and then whoever the moderator is, that's who you give them to if you wait until that night. And I think at the end, if there's enough time, they'll allow you to do questions also.
Okay, next on our agenda is Ken Duncan. He's got a request for applications.
As most of you have probably heard, we've had a resignation on the ACC, and we also have some openings on the AVRC due to members moving.
Can you explain what those committees are?
The ACC is the Architectural Control Committee, all right? The AVRC is the Appeals, Violations, and Reviews Committee. They're the ones that determine what level of fines are being administered at that time. There are 2 openings on that committee. Because of being standing committees, I'm putting out a general request for memberships to apply. The opening goes from today till the meeting at the end of the month, which will be the January 18th meeting. Anybody interested in those positions, please submit your resume. We currently have one for the ACC. He's a very qualified candidate. But because of being a standing committee, we're asking that everybody have an equal opportunity in order to apply. This is just for your information, and I thank you.
Ken?
AVRC is your Appeals, Violation, and Review Committee. All right, they're the ones that actually, if you appeal a fine, they're the ones that make the final determination on the fine.
Ken, can you just explain the ACC? It's the Architectural Review Committee, but people, especially new people, might not know what that is.
Okay, the ACC, what they do is, all right, if you're doing any major modifications to the lot, all right, or you're having a new home come in, they're the ones that maintain your setbacks, your side sets, and look at the overall documentation thereof. Within our documentation of the ACC, it's specified that you have to have a carport, you have to have this, you gotta have that. And the committee is a very small committee that's approximately 7 members. They meet twice a month, every other Monday, and for approximately an hour to an hour and a half. Are there any other questions?
Ken?
Yeah.
I'm over here. Just mention that the resume, they can pick up a volunteer resume at the office.
Yeah, the office does have the applications. It's the same application you fill out as though you're applying for any other committee of the board. Okay? It's a little one-page thing, and we'll get them to the appropriate chairmen of the 2 committees. Any other questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, now we don't have a lot on the agenda today, so we're going to have the report of the directors, their committee reports and their projects. Let's start with Rosemary. Poor Rosemary, she's having a lot of trouble.
Thank you, Anna. I have nothing to report on the veterans because that's being taken care of with a meeting on the 16th. I do want to thank everybody that attended the Music Is Christmas concert. We raised over $300 to help pay for our music. And we are starting rehearsal for our spring concert next Tuesday at 1 o'clock here in the hall. Also, February 11th is our 2nd annual tea party. It's called We Love Our Veterans. Tickets are on sale Tuesdays and Thursdays from 9 to 11. The price for the party is $15 per person. And this is by reservation only. So please, if you want to attend, please pick up your tickets ahead of time. I believe the last date is the 29th of January. That the end of the month is the deadline to buy tickets. Also, since this is a salute to our veterans, all veterans, it's just not a ladies' function, all veterans are invited to attend. So please, let's make this a really good salute and to honor our veterans. Thank you.
Thank you, Rosemary. And our last year tea was just wonderful, so we hope you'll join us again this year. The girls work really hard, and it's a very nice event. Gail?
I was giving you a chance to do that too. Okay, beautification committee, they've done a really good job. Unfortunately, our tree died, the beautiful big Christmas tree, and it's probably going to take about $800 to $1,000 to replace it. So the beautification committee will be seeking donations, and however many donations we get will probably affect the size of the tree. So we're going to be asking during the year for that. Unit reps, we meet next week at Tuesday at 9 o'clock in, well, I don't know which room because we get switched around all the time. So I'll have more of a report on the unit reps next week at the next meeting. And also the Rules and Regulations Committee, we are, I'd say, a good 2/3 way done. Yeah, through that I've given all of the documents to all of the board members and asking them to review them. So we'd like to get them done before the end of everybody's term. So you'll be hearing more about that probably starting the next meeting. So I've got that, and that's all I have right now.
Thank you, Gail. Leo?
I'd like to remind members, the association does its best to help all members be happy in the community they live in. We can't please everybody all the time. We need more help than we need negative comments. I mentioned this the last meeting. It's easy to make negative comment, but if you don't have a solution, where does it go? That's all.
Thank you, Leo. Ken?
First off, I'd like to make sure that everybody had a Happy New Year and a Merry Christmas. I do appreciate the attendance that is at this meeting. It is with deep regards that I announce that the Fish Food Bank will be closing at the end of this month. The demand has been supported very much by the membership, and the membership is very supportive of its members. The demand by the members has slowed way down. We are currently in an over position of, I've got too much stock sitting on my patio. All right, the members that do use the food bank, we're going to make sure that they are taken care of and loaded up. The rest of the food will be distributed, and on the 30th of this month, collections will totally cease. Again, I thank you, and I thank all the members for their donations. I can physically no longer do it by myself, so that's one of the reasons, and the demand is just not there. We're down to about 7 to 10 members. So I thank you, and that's all I have.
Ken, thank you for the work that you and your team have done for the fish. I know you've helped a lot of people. It's just too bad that the bodies aren't there to continue helping you. I'll just remind you that my president's report that I gave this morning will be in the News and Views, okay? I'll now open it up to member comments. I'll take this side. Tom Wallington.
Tom Wallington, Unit 1. I don't have an awful lot of time here today. This might be my last chance appearance to get some things straightened out. I've been on 3 finance committees. The last finance committee really bothered me with some of the things that we found out. Over the course of the years, there's been a lot of things going on that haven't been done right, according to 720. I could look at Ms. Walls, she'll verify that. So will Mrs. Stratton. I had many questions. I really wanted to speak to Mr. Keller and Mr. Foster today, but they're not available. And I had some serious questions, concerns. What bothers me is the second set of books, where monies were moved around that shouldn't have been moved around, a lot of deficiencies in the way we keep our bookkeeping. And what really gets me is I wanted to ask them, did they have any knowledge of the second set of books? Well, they're not here. But you were board president at one time. Do you have any knowledge of any second set of books?
I was not aware of them until it was brought to my attention a couple of years ago.
Okay. Are you familiar with Warner and Company?
Yes.
Okay. You were notified in 2017 that there was 2 sets of books Gail, and you did nothing about it. There was a meeting, they even had a meeting with several of the associates here on the board at that time to discuss it. They were going to come in to help you review some of these other things. Why are we addressing these same issues today? And you didn't do a damn thing about it. I find it disgraceful that you put things, brush them, put them under the rug, and not do a thing about it. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. And there's other things that really concerns me. It's just amazing that the things that went on. We haven't been doing things right, hiding things, not telling you the truth. It's disgraceful. And for a board president, and I know damn good and well that Mr. Foster knew about it, and I know Mr. Keller knew about it, and I know you did. And to not do nothing about it and continue it on, and here we had to deal with this mess with the latest finance committee. And I said at that meeting we had to deal with this crap. It's ridiculous. I don't know what should be done, but I don't think any of these people involved in this should ever be on a board or anything to do with any committee ever again. I'm really disturbed by some of the comments. I'm glad that Leo spoke up and said something about the negative things and remarks that are being said at these meetings. Disgraceful about that one where everybody walked out and Ken here holding a bag. It was just disgraceful at that meeting. Terrible. You can't act like that. We want to know, we should be told the truth, run it like this. Now, Anna's been taking the big heat. They want to ask her about certain, well, you can't answer certain questions because the audit still isn't done. It's not finalized because there's still a couple questions on it. You ought to really thank her, because in the last 20, I've been here 44 years, in the last 20 years, she's the only board president I know of that's taken the initiative to get us on the right track, to get us according to 720, to do things the correct way. Answer questions that Ms. Stratton or Linda has, or Mary Story, whoever, any of you have questions. I'm happy to hear that you finally got a CPA to come in here and look at this stuff. It's disgraceful. Disgraceful how some of these board members act. Example, former board member went up to the clubhouse here, disclosed the salary of an employee, and was disappointed. That's the reason he voted no to have a management company come in here. Why? Because he wanted to negotiate. He wanted Carol fired and Greg Schubert fired before he would vote yes to have a committee come in here. Now, if I was Mr. Schubert to disclose my salary and discuss things like that, it's not when, it's how much he's going to get. That's crazy. He jeopardized us, our finances, and everything. Stupid. Another one went up to the come up here and says, listen, I'm voting no for this thing because all you're going to be fired. Said that to the employees here. That was you, Gail. Lie. They weren't going to be fired. No. Getting a little red-faced, aren't I? I could go on and on, but I think I should stop. I might get myself in trouble with some of my language I might use. So that's all I have to say. And I feel strongly what I said about being on boards in the future, being involved in the committees, should never ever be allowed to be on any of our boards ever again. Ever.
How do we accomplish something like that?
Pardon?
How do we accomplish something like that? Have
Do your homework. It's difficult, I will tell you. There's a gentleman over here behind you that's run for the board. And I told him something. I said, you know what? You're gonna be like Mother Teresa now. You got all your friends. As soon as you get on the board, you're the biggest ass walking. That happens. That's exactly what happens. You flip a coin. You don't know. Do your homework. Don't go by what other people say. Ask questions. Do your homework. Find out their background. This community cannot be run by plumbers, produce managers, whatever. It's got to be run by some professionals to monitor our finances here. We should have a management company manage our finances and get it done right. Because they'll do everything for the 720, period. We'll still have our employees here. We're not firing it. The board's going to control that. They're not going to have the authority to fire anybody. No, the board controls that. So, support, think positive, but this isn't going away, I'm telling you. My last comment is that in law enforcement, we used to have a saying, you know, when you investigate things and it involves a lot of people, and you used to say the first person that speaks up is going to get the best deal. Somebody's got to be punished. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Tom. You must have done a lot of homework and a lot of reading.
A lot.
I'd just like to, Tom, I will apologize for not knowing about the second set of books. Unfortunately, finance is not my strength, never has been. I trusted the manager and the bookkeeper that things were fine, and I understand that now. But until Anna came on board, I had no idea how much you have to look at the finances, and think if we had a strong treasurer, right, you know, that knew more about finances, that this probably wouldn't have happened even when I was on the board, and I fully apologize for that. No, I'm not passing the buck. I am apologizing. If I had been more aware of finances, I am not passing the buck. I heard somebody say that, I'm not sure who that was. I'm not passing the buck. I'm apologizing for not knowing. The things that I did know, I took care of. The things that I didn't, it is my fault that I did not know. There are some things I don't know, and I do apologize.
That doesn't clear it up.
It doesn't clear it up, and that's why I'm thankful for Anna.
Why didn't you go to somebody and have it corrected, who were professionally in this field to train and do that? Why didn't you do that? You didn't. You let it roll.
The only thing that I was aware of was certain things about the clubs.
About what?
About the clubs. That is what I knew, and that is the second set of books, is the clubs.
Let me ask you one thing.
Especially the bingo.
Let me ask you, since we're on this.
Okay.
There was a discrepancy while you were on president of the bingo money. What was put in and the balance sheet didn't jive. Would you address that issue? What was the problem there?
When I addressed the issue to the GM and to the bookkeeper, they explained that everything just wasn't on the books, and unfortunately, I trusted them enough that everything was correct, but it just wasn't all in there. And like I said, I fully apologize because I trusted too much, and I had no idea about finances. When I spoke with the one year when my first year on there, the Warner and Company, I can't remember the man's name, he came in and he explained some things to me, but the things he explained to me, we corrected. I did not fully understand. And that is my fault. I am taking it. I am thankful for Anna for knowing the finances and that we've finally got it straightened out. I fully apologize, but I can't do anything about what happened in the past. I am thankful for Anna for finding these things. I am.
Not good enough for me.
I understand that.
There's monies that came in that were not attached to our filings. And this auditor discovered that. You ever hear the term slush fund? You ever heard of a slush fund?
Yes.
And we have one? Did we have one?
I don't know.
You don't know.
Do we? I imagine we must.
Madam President, can I step in here a moment? His 6 minutes has long gone by, and it's time to end this discussion.
Okay, I agree.
Fine.
It's gonna end. You cannot make a comment that goes on for half an hour.
Okay.
Because if 5 of you do it, we're gonna be here till noon.
Tom,
When people straighten out, I'll calm down.
Sit down. I will sit down. I've made my piece, and that's all I have to say. The rest is up to you. Bye.
okay, thank you, Tom.
And I will make one more comment to that, because the other two people aren't here, so they probably get the same thing. We'd be here till noontime, definitely. My intent is to leave the board this year. You can clap, you can do whatever you want, but I gave the best that I could with what I knew. And when I depended on people that I didn't know I couldn't depend on. And please don't say that. Who said that? Bullshit.
I did.
Who said it?
Well-
Okay. Well, there's quite a few men back there. Yes, it was, but I got 1 minute. I just want to say I apologize.
Okay, thank you, Gail. This is one of the reasons why we tried to get a management company in here at least for a year or two. And I'm going to be very honest with every one of you. Several members of this board had their own agendas. They were not looking out for all of you. Now, I have spent months going through audits, researching, pulling out discrepancies, and now it's up to hiring a CPA, which is not cheap, because certain people, and I've always been honest with you people, and you're my people. I live here, and to deny this community development, to advance and to be right up to snuff about everything we do, finance, contracts, our staff getting the best of the best, it was voted down because they wouldn't even let you people, meet with the management company and explain to all of you what they're about. And so now it's redundant. And I will finish up my job. Okay. Lucy?
Lucille DeGuire, Unit 4. Okay, closer. Listen, I understand how it went. Personally, I felt that we should have been in the loop about the management company, because that meeting that you had was to finalize it without our input.
Right.
So it was half-assed backwards.
I'm sorry about that. Thank you.
Val Stratton, Unit 3. Management company, I suggest you put it on the annual membership agenda and let the audience in the annual meeting express their opinion of whether to go forward or on the research and present something. But actually, the reason why I raised my hand was I was curious how much money the Fall Fest made because there was nothing on the November treasurer's report. Does anybody have a ballpark? I don't expect the exact amount. Was it $100, $200?
That would be Rosemary.
Approximately $900 was taken in. I didn't have the breakdown because I was I apologize for not having a formal breakdown because that day I was flying solo, trying to manage everything. But we took in approximately $900. We paid the food truck guy $500. I know that. And we had $200 that we allocated for the basket of cheer. Those are the two expenses that I know of. And
The band. And the band.
Yeah.
The basket came out of the ladies of Brookridge.
Yeah, basket came out of the ladies of Brookridge. The other thing that we did pay for is the $250, and I believe there was a $50 deposit for the band. Those are the expenses that I know of. So basically, we flatlined on the festival.
Okay, because I looked online on the November treasurer's report and it wasn't on there. So that's why I asked the question. And I do ask for the fourth time that the figures on the treasurer's report reflect our finances, please. And Werner, when he was our accountant, I don't know, but he specializes in fraud. So I guess the fact that he told you guys that there was 2 sets of books is understandable. We also had Janowski come in and re-audit our books for 2019 and 20, and hopefully the CPA will be able to understand the work that Richard and his crew did. Thank you.
Thank you, Val. Petrona?
I'm Petrona Turman, and I am in Unit 3, but I'm not here as a resident, I'm here as an employee today. Okay, 2 things. The expo, our annual expo, is going to be January the 25th. We have right now, right at 50-ish vendors and clubs that will be attending. We have some new vendors this year that we've never had come into Brookridge, and we're really excited about that. So come out and see what we have to offer this year. Also, the 2024 time, 10 to 1, I'm sorry. 10 to 1 here in the clubhouse on the 25th. Also, the 2022 club, or 2024 club packets will be in your boxes by the end of the week. If I could get those back, you know, when we go into a new year, I start working in the following year immediately. So if the club members could get those filled out and back to me, that would be great. And again, I'll see everybody on the 25th. Thanks.
Thank you, employee Petrona.
You're welcome.
Linda?
Good morning and Happy New Year to everybody.
Unit?
Linda Walls, Unit 4. One thing I would like to know is we always had a board meeting not just the workshop, in the month of December until 2020? Who made the decision not to have a regular board meeting in Decembers anymore?
I discussed it with the board of directors, mostly the president, and we didn't do it because it was so close to the Christmas holiday.
But that's not following our bylaws. It says a board meeting every month.
A workshop is
It's
also
not
a
a-
board meeting every month. A workshop is also considered a board meeting.
But it doesn't say, it says the Wednesday night if you read our bylaws.
If you read the 720s, a board of directors workshop where you have a quorum of the board is a board of directors meeting.
Okay. We've discussed the audit. Do we have any idea, Anna, when we'll get the audit?
I'm hoping that we get the original. We've had the draft, which is not for the public. It all says right on there by the auditor. Everything has gone into them. I have still did not get the answers that I wanted. But we hope to get it. Carol, do you think maybe we could get it this month sometimes, the original audit?
We just paid them, so we should be able to get it.
Yeah, so we should have it by this month at the latest.
Okay. We did have a CPA coming in quarterly and going over our books.
Yeah.
I noticed that there hasn't been any payments made to them. Are they not doing that anymore?
Yeah, she's still doing it. We're waiting for the third quarter.
Okay. Code enforcement. We used to always get a report at the board meetings of any activities going on in here that residents needed to know about. We also, with the agenda and in the news and views, they had a violations and appeals that was typed up and showed all of the violations that were outstanding. Is there any way we can go back to some of the old things that used to work? I've got copies of them. I'll be happy to share them. They're out of the news and views from 2019.
19?
Yes. This stopped in 2020. Greg always stood up at the board meetings and gave a report if there was a burglary or anything going on in the community to make the residents aware of. We don't get those reports anymore.
I'm sure the board will discuss it and decide, make a decision on those things.
Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. Is there anyone else? Bob? I did see you, but I think you can have a turn lane.
Hello, my name is Bob O'Brien, I'm Unit 1. I'm here with...
Closer, we can't
Oh,
hear you.
okay, I'm sorry. I'm here, I live here with my partner, who is a CPA. And every time I come back from these meetings, she says, do you have the audit yet? Do you have the audit yet? I said, no. She says, how many months has it been? I said, I don't know, this is, I think, the third one. She works for a large multinational company. She says, you know, I don't know why it takes so long. He says the financial reports are 3 months behind. Like, we might get, the third quarter's been over for 2 months now. I know we're a big outfit, but are we that big that we don't know what we spent 2 months ago?
No.
All right? The other thing that bothers me is, it was announced by the general manager that because we have 4 people running for office, and there are 4 positions open, that those people will automatically get in. It's just a matter of the votes they get in the election as to how long their terms will be. Well, I broached this topic with Anna the other day because the way I looked at it is we had 3 openings. 4 people ran for those 3 openings, okay? Nominations were closed. The election cycle has started. It's like a juggernaut. It doesn't end, right? Somewhere along the line, somebody said, wait a second, I'm resigning. And they said, okay, we're going to throw you into that juggernaut and make you part of the process. I know the board has the authority to appoint somebody to finish out the rest of Mr. Foster's term, I believe. But it says that when after that happens, it has to go to the general election cycle, which means nominations have to be opened up for that, and people have to do it. That's if you're going to follow the rules. But one thing I noticed is that people sometimes, a lot here, expediency and saving costs. We don't have to follow the rules because the majority of the board says this and the majority of the board says that. That's fine if they do it in an open meeting. But the thing that bothers me is that since the time that those 4 people started running for the office, a lot of things happened. We had the budget problems, we had the pool crisis, other things have come up we're still looking at, and that other position could be important. Now, right now, what you have is just put 4 people on there because 4 people put their names in. But that's not what the process is. If you're going to follow the rules, let's follow the rules. You know, when I first came here, people said to me, oh, you got to follow the rules. If you want to use this, you got to file it 60 days if you want to use the center here, right? If you want to do this, and I said, okay. Then I found out that people who had followed all those rules had dates taken away from them without regard to the fact that we follow the rules. How can you just take them arbitrarily away from us? And it hurt some of the people here. And I went to a meeting the other day where people said, do they really want us here anymore, or do they really want our club here anymore because of the way we've been treated? You know, when you can't have a revenue-producing event for the entire second half of the year, it hurts your club. And then people say, but we want you to do these other things for us, right? The other thing I would say is, I think that according to everything I've read and I've discussed with friends of mine who are accountants, at the end of every audit, when I was audited, when I was head of a 500-person HOA, the auditors came to us with questions. And they said, why was this done this way? And you didn't close the audit until those questions were answered satisfactorily, or else the auditors would put a thing out called, we file this report with exceptions. We can't certify this as being legitimately done in this instance. This has not been satisfactory. Now, every president who got an audit should have come in, looked at that and said, why have we still solved these problems? And that's what I think is happening. And people not looking at these reports and not looking at what they're supposed to be doing. I know these are volunteer positions. I know how hard it is. I know about getting phone calls all the hours of the night. I know I apologize for taking part of your valuable time the other day. And then,
That's okay, Bob.
but the thing is that, you know, I came here and this is where I'm going to live. I got 20 more years, I guess, to go. My dad told me when he died in 92, he said, your grandfather died in 95. I'm dying in 92. He said, you're probably going to last till 90. That gives me another 23 years to go here. You know? So I got to look for the future of this place. But the thing is that if you want people to become involved, I found out, and when I was president, transparency. Tell people what's happening. We're dying here, we're dying, we can't run. If you want us to have this level of programming, if you want us to have this, you have to contribute. You have to step up to the plate. You can't just leave it to 6 people, 10 people, 15 people. But you know, that's the thing. But I did know one thing here that really hurts you here. Your solicitation rule. I can't go to any of my neighbors and say, join the men's club.
We're going into 6 minutes here.
All right, Carol, you know, I would have addressed this in other meetings, but I only want to shot 2 shots here, all right? But I'm saying to you, one of the things you got to look at is the fact that you're cutting down contact between people here. I was told that I can't walk down my block and knock on doors and say, hi, I'm Bob O'Brien, I just moved into the neighborhood. And what's your name? You can't do that because, sorry, that violates the solicitation rules. You can't ask people to join your club or join an activity? Or did you know there's a concert tomorrow night that's free, and it just came about like we had this year? You can't do that, all right? Because I was told,
Thank you. Thank you so much for your input.
Bob, thank you for all of the information. And I will say that Anna, whenever there was a question about the audit, Anna has stepped up to the plate to do that. The other thing is, solicitation is not what you're doing. You're being neighborly. Solicitation is when you running for something or something, and you want people to sign your name, their name to it. That is what solicitation is. But being right, that's right. Solicitation is selling something. Oh, there you go. Petition is getting someone's name. Soliciting is when you're selling something. You're not. You're being a good neighbor, and I wish more people would do that. Thank you.
Okay, now it's your turn, Vivian. Get up here.
Vivian Blair, Unit 4. I know you've had a lot with your finances and other issues on the board and up at the office, but once again, I'm going to reiterate, has any consideration been made about doing a resident-only gate? It would alleviate a lot of traffic, and I really think the board or the membership, even if you put it on for a vote, it should seriously be considered. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Vivian. Are there any more questions? I just want to make a comment. I guess the New Year's Eve dinner and dance was quite a success. Rich, can you tell us a little
Very
bit?
simple. I won't use that up there. The place was packed. I had to throw the people out of here, to tell you the truth. It was a New Year's Eve party. We all been there through our lives, right? 20 years old, 30 years old, 40 years old. They had a great time. The band was great. The food was great. It was unbelievable. They want to send them again for next year. Packed house. It's in Brookridge. Not outside. They walk home. They go a little golf cart. They don't drive anywhere on the streets. I love it. Thank you very much. You're all safe.
Thank you, Rich, and thank you all for the hard work you do for, I know it's quite an endeavor, but the satisfaction you get when it's over with is so important, yeah. And you make people happy, and that's what we're supposed to be doing here. Is there any more questions or concerns?
One thing.
Okay.
When are they gonna get our air conditioners working here in the clubhouse properly?
We're working on it. We're working on it.
It's rather difficult getting companies to come in. They're so far behind still, and I know that Mike has called them, and we are putting a new unit over here by the pool.
Yeah.
As soon as we get someone in to do it. It's nice to be so independently wealthy now that these companies don't have to scramble for a job or like they used to. I guess that's the story. Or maybe they all retired, I'm not sure. But we are working on it, Linda. Lucy?
Lucille DeBlier, Unit 4. I do want to apologize if I came off angry. I guess I was. But I would like by the next meeting for you to give up some kind of planning if you feel it's so important to consider a management company and tell us how you're going to go about it where you include us.
You know, that was very disappointing for me because we worked so hard at it. The advisory committee, they are a tremendous group of people. And we work for this development. We all live here. And I don't think sometimes the residents understand when you sit up here, we live here. We wouldn't do anything to jeopardize ourselves and you. I had the management company offer to come in and meet with the residents and explain to them what they're about, what they have to offer, and no, they're not firing your staff. So let me look into it, and I'll give you an answer at the next meeting, Lucy.
Right, because as Val says, we want to be involved with it. Thank you. Tom first.
Tom Wilmington, Unit 1. I was so worked up and wasn't thinking. I want to apologize to all the ladies and gentlemen here and apologize for the word I used, BS. Immature, stupid. But you got to understand where I was coming from. I'm very upset. And I shouldn't have said that, and I apologize. You shouldn't have heard that word.
Thank you, Tom. Is there any, Bob?
And I just wanted to say, Bob O'Brien, Unit 1, the vote we had the other day on that management thing, one of the problems we had is that before the vote was taken, the motion should have been restated by the parliamentarian so everybody knew what we were voting for. When I looked at what I had down in my notes was that people thought, and a lot of people thought that we were accepting this. But what Anna, what I thought it was you were asking permission to bring these people in for information. Now, after the vote was over, you were upset, I know, because you worked very hard on it, and we appreciate that. I still was saying to myself, and I thought I said to you, I went up to talk to you about it, as president, you could have still invited those people into a meeting and had an informational meeting for the people here, and then when they got that information, I think people might have a different idea. But I think you felt defeated because of the misunderstanding. A lot of people wanted to know more about it, and they didn't want to look at the stuff that was on paper. They wanted to be able to ask questions in person. So if you bring that policy back, I think you might find these residents to be more receptive to it.
Okay, I'm going to be working on that, Bob, among my other things. And if there aren't any more questions, Rich.
Rich Stratton, Unit 3. I got about 20 minutes up here. Gail, I got a good idea for you. The men's club, from previous years, we used to have a wagon and a chair. Wagon and a chair. Guess how much money that wagon and chair makes? Take a guess.
$100, $1,000?
$1,000. One notification do that, no donation, everybody gets a chance to get the wagon and chair, it's $5. They have 4 hours worth of booze, all good. It's a freebie.
How much did it cost, though, to do that?
$29 for the wagon.
Yep.
Well, the booze is free. Everybody donates a bottle of wine or something. It's all donation. All donation.
That's a
All
fantastic
donation.
idea. Hey, we're all retired.
They all like their wine and they all like their aki.
Well, you know what? That's an awesome idea. Then we could get a new Christmas tree next year that
There you go.
we're
It's
probably
a
proud of
freebie.
again. All right, people.
Thank you, Rich.
Everybody better start coming up with their bottle of wine for us, because I will definitely suggest that at our next beautification meeting.
You're gonna buy a wagon, $49.
I'll buy the wagon.
Okay?
Anna, could I just make one comment, not about what's going on here? We're all concerned about the safety of our residents here. And I have a problem. Out here, in this parking area with the handicap, there is a sign in red and white that says, "Do not enter." Many occasions, especially on the show nights, like Monday night, people that park there can't be bothered to back up and go out the proper exit. They're heading out where it says "Do not enter," and they're going into traffic and people walking. Greg, I'd like to see a little more diligence at that during the shows or after the shows, because somebody's going to get hurt. There's going to be an accident. People are walking to their cars. I don't understand why people cannot read a sign that says, "Do not enter." That's true. Crosswalks, stop signs.
Hello, Debbie McMillan, Unit 6. I don't want to jump on the Gail bandwagon here, but I was informed that she was at the last unit rep meeting and was suggesting that people not vote for Debbie Coble / Debbie Higgins. And I think that that is a very unprofessional thing to do. This is why we have problems in this community. These people want to get involved in things that they have no business getting involved in. She is a liaison to that committee. She should sit there fairly quietly, not run the meeting, and run her opinion. Debbie Coble / Higgins is a very qualified person. I think that's why these people are afraid to have her on the board. That's all I have to say.
After the meeting, people asked me. They asked the opinion, I'm going to give it to them.
Is there any more discussion? Okay, Ken says, can we go? May I have a motion to adjourn?
I second.
Adjourned at 10:05. Thank you all for coming.
Everybody's